Okay, today's lesson is why miners are dumb.
Hey, that's not nice.
Oh, I'm sorry guys, I don't mean children under the age of 18. I mean gold miners. I'm going to talk about them. You guys go up to sleep. Tomorrow we'll show them baby Jonathan, okay?
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.
So, like I was starting to say, the focus of today's lesson is on miners and how stupid they are. Let's take a look at one of them. Here's a gold miner who's very excited about his find, and if he was smart about it, he wouldn't go and tell anybody. But of course, miners are dumb, so they do tell everybody. Let me show you an example. Here are the gold fields of 1849, 1850 in the California Gold Rush. You can see on the screen right here, there's lots of gold that was discovered near Sacramento and a little bit further up, also shown on this map. Now you'd think if you found gold, you wouldn't tell anybody. I have an example of this in a moment. But of course, miners are dumb, and they do tell people. Let me show you an example. Dunkin, come here. Come here. See this? Here's a bone that I'm about to give to my dog, Dunkin. It's a resource that he's going to find, and he's going to be happy about it. He's not going to go outside and tell all of his friends that he found a bone, because then he's going to lose this bone, and he's going to have other bones taken. You can see Dunkin wants this already. So, Dunkin's not dumb. He's smarter than a miner. Let's take a look. Go get it, Dunkin. Now, as you can see, Dunkin didn't go and tell everybody that he found a bone. He just ate it. And if you found a whole bunch of gold, you probably shouldn't tell anybody either. So let's get to the details of this. Here's a gold miner again who's found a bunch of gold. And by the way, if you search gold miners are dumb on Google, you get this image of a squirrel with an air harmonica. I'm not sure where that came from. But what happened when gold was discovered in the 1850s and 1860s was that it was told back east, and thousands upon thousands of miners came out west looking for that gold. Whose land did they cut across? Go ahead, answer it. Say it out loud. I'll wait. Good. They went across the Indians' land. In fact, there's certain steps that they took that I want to share with you. Why miners' stupidity led to tension on the Great Plains. First, gold or silver is discovered out west. Now, these miners, as we found out, they can't keep a secret. They tell all their friends, or even people that they don't know that well. The friends come in large numbers from the East Coast. The land that they cut across belongs to the who? I'll wait for it. Wait for it. Indians. The Indians get mad and fight back. Some of the miners are killed, and then the rest call for help. The U.S. Army then comes out in large numbers and fights against the Indians, sometimes forcing them onto reservations. This is a pattern that's repeated over and over again and really does lead to the tension out on the Great Plains. In class, you're going to get a timeline like this that's going to record, where you're going to record some of the things that happened, and some of them do involve gold and silver discoveries. We're also going to talk at length in class about the two treaties of Fort Laramie. Oh, now Duncan's getting his drink of water. You can hear him. First treaty of Fort Laramie in 1851, and then there's a second treaty in 1868. The first treaty of Fort Laramie in 1851 said that people could cut across Indians' land, and in exchange, the Indians would get about $15,000 worth of stuff for their people, or $50,000 worth of stuff for their people. It was an attempt to allow the miners to go across their land in exchange for some supplies. But the numbers kept on increasing, and the rules were sometimes violated, as you'll see in class when we talk about that. Another example, in addition to the gold rush, is when Pikes Peak in gold was discovered in 1858. This is about 10 years after the original gold rush in California. Pikes Peak is near Denver, Colorado, and actually Denver did not exist until Pikes Peak. The gold was discovered there in 1858. So many people came out to get the gold, and when they came out to get the gold, they formed a boomtown. A boomtown is a town that is created basically overnight because of an important discovery like gold. And when the gold was discovered, Denver was created, and thousands upon thousands of miners, because they're dumb, told everybody else back east, and more miners came. And whose land did they go across? I'll wait for it. Say it out loud. Good. They came across the Indians' land. And not only was it gold being discovered, it was also silver. This is the largest discovery of silver in our nation's history. It happened in the 1850s out in Virginia City, Nevada, not in Virginia. And while we're looking at this map, you see the gold fields of 1858 here in California, and the Pikes Peak one near Denver that I talked about before. But now our focus is on Virginia City in Nevada. They were looking for gold there. A guy named Henry Comstock was looking for gold and digging for gold, and he kept going across this. Duncan, stop drinking the water. They kept finding this material that was bluish, silverish, and they couldn't get through it. It was very difficult to drill and to dig through. And then they looked at it and they said, "Oh, this is silver. This is very valuable." And Henry Comstock couldn't keep his mouth closed. He told everybody else that he had found silver. And before you know it, thousands of people were going and cutting across land. Whose land were they going across? Good. And when they were going across that land, they were causing conflict, and poor Henry Comstock ended up poor because he didn't save enough of the silver for himself. Again, this pattern gets repeated. And showing you the pattern one more time. Gold or silver is discovered. Miners can't keep a secret and tell all their friends or even people that they don't know that well. These friends come in large numbers from the East Coast. The land that they cut across belongs to the Indians. The Indians get mad and fight back. Sometimes these miners are killed and the rest call for help. The U.S. Army comes out to help, fights against the Indians, sometimes forcing them onto the reservations. Now this story is one that was repeated over and over again in the West, and one we'll talk about in class on Wednesday. But I do want to share a video too which talks about this a little bit, but it's a different perspective from a different time. And I know you guys are familiar with Schoolhouse Rock, so we're going to take a look at this in a second. And here we go.
One thing you will discover when you get next to one another is everybody needs some elbow room, elbow room. It's nice when you're kind of cozy, but not when you're tangled nose to nosy. Oh, everybody needs some elbow, needs a little elbow room. That's how it was in the early days of the USA. The people kept coming to settle, though the East was the only place there was to go. The president was Thomas Jefferson. He made a deal with Napoleon. How'd you like to sell a mile or two?
Or 3, or 100, or 1,000.
And so, in 1803, the Louisiana Territory was sold to us without a fuss, and gave us lots of elbow room. Oh, elbow room, elbow room. Got to get us some elbow room. It's the West or bust. In God we trust. There's a new land out there. Lewis and Clark volunteered to go. Goodbye, good luck, wear your overcoat. They prepared for good times and for bad, and for bad. They hired Sacagawea to be their guide. She led them all across the countryside, reached the coast, and found the most elbow room we've ever had. The way was opened up for folks with bravery. There were plenty of fights to win land rights, but the West was meant to be. It was a manifest destiny. The trappers, traders, and the peddlers, the politicians and the settlers, they got there by any way they could. The gold rush trampled down the wilderness, the railroads spread across from east to west, and soon the rest was opened up for good. And now we jet from east to west, goodbye New York, hello LA. But it took those early folks to open up the way. Now we've got a lot of room to be growing from sea to shining sea. Guess that we have got our elbow room, elbow room. But if there should ever come a time when we're crowded up together, I'm sure we'll find some elbow room up on the moon. Oh, elbow room, elbow room. Got to get us some elbow room. It's the moon or bust. In God we trust. There's a new land up there.
So that video is from 1974, and they have a different perspective on the whole thing. And hardly once in there do they talk about whose land was being taken. And again, say it out loud. Good. That's your lesson. There's a quiz tomorrow. See you in class.